Hello and welcome to Beyond Fame. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Thank you guys for staying in with us. This is going to be an awesome interview. Luke and I have just been chatting and having a good time while Frankie is getting everything set up. So I do want to thank Frankie Valley, the tech guy, for the show. So thank you, Frankie, for taking everything on and doing this for Beyond Fame. Well, welcome to the show. This is Beyond Fame. This is a podcast about talent. I love people who have talent and use it to entertain the world. So we have some great guests on this season or this go around, which is why I've called it 2.0. And I think you guys are really going to be inspired by our guests on the show. The first guest needs really no introduction if you are into magic, but if you are not, he creates his own magic. He has consulted for Criss Angel. He works for Murphy's Magic and does a product show every Tuesday night on YouTube. So he's no stranger to that. So everybody, let's give a big warm welcome to Luke Cobra Kai Dancy. How are you, Luke?
Hello there. Cobra Kai. Kai. That's what it's all about today.
Love it. Love it. Love it. How's Las Vegas?
Hot. It is hot.
Triple digit hot?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the phone. 108 right now, 108 degrees at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm inside hanging out with you, having a little pizza. So,
there you
life
go.
is good.
Right on. Well, and that's what I like this to be about. It's just casual. It's not stuffy. We're here to have a good time. So, and just to get to know a little bit more about the man who is Luke, who always brings us the good stuff. So,
I do my best.
Right on. So, Luke, let's start off with an origin story, if you will.
Origin story. So I grew up in North Carolina, very small town in North Carolina, outside of Charlotte, and fell in love with magic when I was about 8. I saw David Copperfield on TV doing some magic, and I got bit by the bug. And then fast forward to when I was 13, I found out that my great grandfather in Michigan was actually a magician. So I kind of sort of have it in my blood to do this stuff. So got into it, dove head first. I'd mow yards, I'd do whatever I had to just to buy magic tricks or magic books. And from there, I just started traveling the world to go to conventions, to learn from the masters, the greats. Started creating my own magic. And then I got the call in 2007 to work with Criss Angel, and the rest is kind of history. So that's kind of like an abbreviated
all right.
origin story. But yeah, it kind of fast forwarded from me just jumping in, getting interested, getting really, really interested, traveling, networking, meeting a lot of the right people in the industry, other magicians and people you meet at conventions that you see all the time. As you know, you go to the same places, you can see the same people. So, and then the doors just started opening and I kind of walked through and just did my best. So I've been in Vegas ever since. So 14 years ago, I moved here and I'm still here. So
very cool. Well, good for you. This is a podcast about talent. So what is your definition of talent?
My definition of talent is not necessarily being the best at something, but doing something that you love and putting effort and putting time into something that you want to be good at. People can be born with talent, but unless you take care of that and you nourish it, it's talent wasted. So I feel like if you're good at something, you can be better. If you want to be good at something, you can be if you're willing to put in the time. So I think talent is one of those things that we all have and we all can have. It's just how hard do you want to work to have it. So
that's my next question, because when I perform or maybe somebody's playing the piano and they say, "Oh, you're very talented." Do you feel it's something that we're born with, or is it something that we create?
I think we're all born with like natural abilities. Some people are just better at being, let's just use this as an example. Some people are they feel more comfortable being around other people, or they're people, they're a people person, right? They're just naturally like a social person. And I feel like some of us have that natural ability with certain things that we just kind of gravitate towards and we're naturally good at. So yeah, I think some people do have natural talent. But if you don't take care of it, then I've seen a lot of people waste it. And I feel like some people, because stuff comes easier to them, that they don't have to feel like they have to put as much work into it. And so it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, whatever, like I do this. Yeah. And it's a shame because there's a lot of people you see that could do stuff, but they don't reach their full potential, I feel like. So long story to your question. Yes, I think some people are born with it, but I think a lot more people have to work for it. Even if you have it, you still have to do something to make sure that you take care of that natural gift, you know?
Sure. So when did you discover that magic was your talent? Then what was the pivoting moment where you said, okay, this is what I'm good at?
Man, I never really knew that I was good at it. I just knew that I liked it. I think that's the difference, is that when I saw Copperfield on TV, I just knew that I liked the feeling that I was getting from seeing magic done that way. You know, magic that was theatrical. There was a story, there was the music, there was all this emotion and drama, you know, that was going hand in hand with magic. And I never really wanted to be Copperfield, though. I wanted to be like someone that was connected to something like that behind the scenes, kind of like a Chris Kinner figure, is more what I was interested in. But I feel like I never thought I was like naturally good at it. I just knew I loved it, and then I wanted to do it, and I was going to do everything and anything I could to try to be as good at it, or at least to surround myself with people that were better at this stuff than I am. Because as the old saying goes, you know, that rubs off on you. You are who you hang out with. So I spent every penny I had. I took everything I had and I invested all of it into magic. And I would never think twice about it. It's something I still love to this day. So
what was your first magic item you purchased?
It was scotch and soda. It was actually two things. I got a scotch and soda, and I got a what do you call it? It's a little nest of boxes thing. It was a little white box. It had a little black rabbit on it, like a silhouette. You borrow a penny, they sign the penny. It's gone. You reach in your pocket, you hand them a box. Inside the box is a smaller box. So that's a smaller box. Inside of that is a wrapped up little red sleeve. And then inside of that is the signed coin, or the coin that you borrowed. Awesome. So that one and scotch and soda, which we all know. So
yeah, very cool. Very awesome. What's Luke's definition of magic?
Magic to me is not about fooling people. It's about connecting with people and having a moment that they won't forget. It's just giving them something that they don't expect. You know, magic can happen all around us. It can be something like the Northern Lights. That's to me real magic. You know, it's these things, these things that you don't expect to see in the world that just naturally exist. And we naturally have connections with other people, but we're not always sure how to do that. And magic kind of opens up the door a little bit to help us connect with people on a deeper level, because I mean, you're doing stuff people have never seen before. You know, we're all doing it. And that's a natural connection that people go, wait a second, is this really going on? And then even if they don't believe it, they're still believing in that moment that, wow, like I didn't expect to see this today. You know, so I think it's all about creating moments with people that they'll never forget.
I like that. That's awesome. Speaking of creativity, you make your own magic. You have some product out. Tell me about how you took your talents to learning a few tricks to the next stage. Let's kind of go through this evolution of Luke Dancy, where you bought some tricks and that excited you, and now what's driven you to create your own magic?
Really what it was performing. I started doing a lot of walk around magic, restaurant magic, I guess is what we call it in the industry. And I started kind of creating out of necessity. I would learn certain tricks, and then I would think, well, man, it'd be cool if I could do this, or man, I'd love to be able to do that, or maybe I could take this principle and use it in a way that I could do this. And so a lot of it came from me actually performing and creating things that I'll actually use and perform. And then some of the things I created also came from other people's ideas and concepts, and then apply them in like new ways to make them have a different context. And a great example of that is Skycap, where you take the old cigarette through quarter idea, and now you can do it with a bottle of water, with a straw. So that was, again, I was in a restaurant setting, and I'm like, well, what could I do with these different items? And what are the things I would love to perform myself that don't exist? And that's kind of what inspired me to start creating original stuff, was that I also wanted to do things no one else was doing. That's always fun, to have something that no one else is out there doing. And they can't say I've seen that before, because they haven't.
You just made it up. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. What are some of your favorite creations?
Skycap is one. I'm very proud of that. And not just because of the trick, but because I also got to work with Paul Harris on it. And Paul Harris is like,
we were just talking about Paul. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's like a hero to a lot of us. So to finally get a chance to work with him on something meant a lot. And I never thought that the idea that I had would find a way to be made, because it required a lot of like R&D, some really custom things like, injection molding and all this crazy stuff. But Paul worked his magic, and he made it happen. My second one has got to be Capture. Capture is a coin and phone effect, which I know has existed before. But the difference is with mine is that you can borrow any phone. It's not on your phone, it's on their phone.
Okay.
You don't have to go to like, some kind of secret website. You don't have to have anything, added to their phone. You can literally borrow it. You drop the coin on the screen, but you can borrow the coin. And then the coin now appears inside of the phone screen. You can shake it around, you see it moving around. And then at the end, you pull it out visually, hand them back their phone and the coin, and everything's examinable at that point.
Very cool.
And Criss Angel did that on TV, and we ended up releasing that together as a product under his line of things. So those are my top two. Anyway, those are my top two.
I like it. Very cool. I don't do either of them. I guess I need to check them out. Let's talk about, so now you've created some magic. What point did this become more of a career for you? What was the transitioning point from, and what did you do before magic?
I mean, I've always done magic. I've had other jobs along with me being a magician and performing and stuff. A couple of the side jobs, I guess you could say. When I was in my teens, I was working at a Target, unloading trucks, like in the back, you'd take them off the truck and slide them down the thing, and then they would stack them up. I did that. I worked at a Barnes and Noble in the music section when I was later in my teens, early 20s. Worked in like a banking facility for a little while after that. I worked in a restaurant as a host. And then at one point I ended up just shifting over and just doing magic, because I ended up getting to be good friends with the district manager, and I convinced him to let me do it. So once I got to that point where I started performing like on the regular, is when I got the call from Criss Angel randomly, like 100% random, that he'd heard about me through the grapevine, and he was looking for some new talent to help him out with his TV show. And so he was like, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to call you back in like a week, maybe create some ideas, some thoughts about, magic that I would do. And then when we talk again, you can kind of share those ideas, and I can see if we're on the same wavelength, because he's a very unique magician, a very unique style.
Yeah. So
he just wanted to make sure that, that I was what he was looking for, because when we did have that second call, is when he, was like, okay, I want you to be out in Vegas ASAP. So he flew me out with a few other guys, and we had a creative meeting in his suite when he was living in the pyramid, at the top of the pyramid at the Luxor, and just started planning out a whole new season of his TV show for season 4. So that's when the big transition happened, is when I was doing it, but I wasn't like doing it full time. I was doing it probably like 80% full time, and still doing some other stuff on the side. But when I got the shift to come out here, is when I haven't done another job since, because after that, at the end of season 4, he asked me to move out here full time, because I was just living in the Luxor. I was just another employee of the show. We were all living in our rooms at the hotel, because that's where the show was being shot. The production office was there. And so he was like, yeah, why don't you, I'll never forget it. We were in New Orleans, down at Harrah's having a dinner. And he's like, yeah, would you be interested in moving out to Vegas and working for me full time? And I'm like, yep, I've been waiting for this my whole life. So
You're
let's
like,
do it.
yeah.
And never look back. Yeah. So we spent 7 great years together doing that. And I miss it every day. It's a lot of fun.
So question. So you're performing. So you haven't even really were like a stage performer. You haven't been like, somebody like David Copperfield, who's well known on TV. You're this guy working in a restaurant performing tricks. How does somebody like Criss Angel find Luke Dancy?
It's a good question. So this is the beauty of being dedicated to your craft, right?
Yeah.
So early in the convo, I mentioned that as a kid, I spent all my money to not only buy the magic tricks that I wanted to learn and study, but also I'd go to magic conventions. And I started developing some really good relationships at magic conventions. I was networking like crazy. And one of the people that I ended up befriending was a guy named Tim Trono. And Tim Trono used to work for Murphy's Magic. So that's who he was working for when I met him. He was like their main buyer. So if you have a magic trick, for instance, that you've got and you're ready to sell it, Murphy's will take that trick from you and distribute it to all the magic shops. So as a buyer, he was always looking for tricks to sell, basically, to the other shops or to produce. If you had something unique, they would also produce it. So long story short, he and I would see each other all the time. And then it got to the point where he had a call. And the same week, he had a call from David Blaine and from Criss Angel about, hey, if there's any new people you think I should talk to or look at, let me know. So when I talked to Tim was like, hey, would you ever be interested in doing consulting? Because back then, there weren't a whole lot of people doing it. It was like Paul Harris was like one of the main guys and maybe a couple other guys, but like it wasn't really a thing because TV magic wasn't as popular as it is now, even with like social media. Like a lot more people do that kind of work. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And he's like, if you had your pick, would you want to work for David Blaine or Criss Angel? And I was like, Criss Angel, because he's got a series on TV. He's on every week. David Blaine does a 1-hour special every 3 years or whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't excite me. I want to work. I want to jump in and do magic,
That's awesome.
And so Tim Trono connected the dots. He let Criss know who I was, and the rest is kind of history. And I always thank Tim for what he's done for me. Every time I see him at a convention, or if we're emailing each other, I always say thank you, because without that kind of help, you can't get where you're going. And also, I do want to also give a quick shout out to David Regal. David Regal produced my very first magic DVD back when I was just a kid, and he didn't know me from a hole in the wall. He just saw my work online on a private magic forum. He sent me a video camera, produced the whole thing out of his own pocket. And I think he kind of put me on the map a little bit so that people like Tim Trono would even know who I was. So, with a lot of help, you can go really, really far in life, but you never want to forget who helped you, because, without that, you can't get where you're going. So I always want people, whatever industry they're in, never forget where you came from. And not only that, don't forget who helped you get where you want to go, because you can't do it by yourself. That's just the reality. You cannot do all this by yourself. So you do need help. Yeah,
totally agree. What can you tell us, like, what are some of the things you did for Criss Angel? Like what does a consultant of magic do?
Yeah, I mean, my job definitely morphed over time. It evolved over time. So it started out just creatively coming up with trick ideas. Okay. But the fun thing was that it wasn't just close-up magic, because a lot of people know me just as like a card guy or a close-up magician, but I've studied magic in all forms. And so I know not just like small stuff, but how the bigger stuff works too. I've got a pretty good, well-rounded knowledge of magic. At least I like to think so. And so I started to apply that in other ways for him, taking stage illusion type props and then figuring out how I could make that prop look like something that you would see outside of a hotel, because he was in a hotel or in a casino. Like, what trick from a casino excuse me, what trick from stage magic could I disguise as something inside of a casino or a restaurant or wherever? And so I started doing a lot of that. So creatively, it was content, coming out with the things that he would do and making sure that that would work. And then over time, my role started with that. And then because he saw how passionate I was, he kind of let me have a little more access. And so I became a writer. I helped write season 5 of Mind Freak. Also, I started to become more of a producer and director, because when you start shooting magic on TV or magic in general with the camera, the people shooting it, for the most part, are not magicians and they don't know magic at all. You know, they don't know any of this stuff. So they don't know where to look or not look, right?
Yeah.
And when you have a TV show like he did with like 4 cameras, sometimes just 3 or 4, you need to make sure that they all know what's going on, so that if you do need to cut to another shot, that you have that other shot to cut to later, right? So I ended up being the person that would sit in what we called Video Village, which was basically all the monitors for all the cameras coming in, and I could see each camera. And I would sit with the person logging the shots, and it was only Criss or me that could call cut. So if I saw something I shouldn't see, or I saw something I knew we couldn't fix later, as far as, you know, an audience reaction, because I mean, and I don't mean like fixing stuff. I mean, like, we're all magicians. I'm talking about like a thumb tip on your thumb. And if you're shooting that from the wrong angle, you're going to see the damn thumb tip, right?
Yeah.
It's stuff like that.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you don't have those little things seen for the
And
audience.
there will be some muggles watching too, but you know, that's all right.
All right. I gotcha. I don't know about that. Yeah.
So let's say Criss has an idea. I want to fly across the Grand Canyon in a helicopter hanging by my piercings. Is that you or is that Criss?
It's a combination
Okay.
of all of us, because we were all tasked to present magic, but also him being the talent, he also wanted a creative input, right? He wanted to have his own say. Now that particular thing was him all the way. I wasn't there when he did that one,
Okay.
but he did have creative input as well. So being a magic consultant also involves wearing a lot of hats, where you're not just coming up with ideas, you're also having to fix things on the fly, you're having to problem solve on the fly, and also just be quick on your feet to move and pivot and shift and to do things. It's a lot of stress, because a production with cameras, audio, producers, and all this stuff isn't cheap. So if you don't get the shots that you need on a day that you're planned to get them, then you have to do it again another time. So instead of just getting what you need, you got to pay to shoot it again, which gets very expensive very quick. So there's a lot of stress to get things done in a timely manner, and you know, to get it done on schedule. So that's a big part of being a consultant, is making those deadlines happen, even when you don't know that that's the deadline today. You're like, well, that trick didn't have to be ready till the end of the week. Well, this thing's not going right. We need to do that now.
Yeah.
You know, there's no excuse. Like, well, we got to do something now. We can't just say cut and we're done for the day. Like, we have all these people and all this money. So we had to find a way to make things happen, for sure. But my particular role definitely evolved from a standard consultant, which a lot of people, they just work on the tricks. Mine did more in a producer and a director role to help keep everything on track, because when you have something that big, you need to make sure everyone's on the same page. And they didn't have someone doing that. There was no director role. We had EPs, we had directors, but there was no director. So I kind of ended up filling that void, and I loved it and I thrived on it. So yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Let's talk about your next is Murphy Magic, your next step after Criss Angel then?
I did a little consulting for a couple other companies as well, but I also was doing some creative marketing stuff with some pretty big brands. I was doing some stuff for Bud Light. Did a campaign with them. At the time, there was this thing called, oh my gosh, what were they called back in the day? It was before Instagram stories. It was before the not shorts. What was it? Oh my God, what were those little things that used to be? They cut the whole thing. They were really short 15-second clips. Anyway, So Bud Light was running this campaign with all these little clips, and they wanted them to be like magic-y. And so I was coming up with cool ways to promote their new line of stuff that they were doing. So I did do that. A couple other brands as well. I was really getting into like finding ways to use magic creatively to help brands market stuff. So I got into that for a while. I spent a little bit of time with Illusionist, which is a magic e-commerce website.
Mhm.
And then after that, yeah, the Murphy store was wide open, and I've been with them now for about 5 years. So after working with him, it was still all magic related for sure. Because he kind of started shifting more to live shows and live performing and touring stuff. And that's not my specialty. So we're still really good friends, still talk all the time, but that's just not my world. So I don't really fit, into that. So yes, Murphy's was pretty much the next big thing, I guess, after that.
So what kind of a magician would you classify yourself as?
I guess generally a close-up. I would, close-up kind of guy.
Like cards and stuff. So
A close-up, I think Paul Harris coined this term, like a close-up kind of guy.
Close-up kind of guy. That's right. Awesome.
And Daniel Ricks helped me out in the chat. The things that used to be called vines.
Oh,
they were short video clips that would play before TikTok and all this stuff. They were vines. Yeah, that's what it was.
Right on. Very cool. What? Let's do this. Let's take a brief moment. Let's play a game. You want to play a game?
Yeah. Oh.
This is a little game I like to call Precog Nog. And this is going to see how well I can get inside Luke Dancy's head. So,
all right.
do you happen to have a pen and paper there?
I think so.
I'm going to ask you 5 questions. And I want you to write down the answer, and then I'm going to try to guess your answers. And these are just rapid response questions.
Okay. Let me grab my notebook over here.
Perfect. All right. So, Luke, are you ready to play Precog Nog?
Yeah, let's do this. All right.
All right. My first question is, what is your favorite food?
Oh, come on.
and just write an answer down. Just rapid response. First thing that comes to mind.
You know this.
What I hope I do. What is your favorite, or who is your favorite current magician?
Favorite current magician?
Uh-huh. So not like Harry Houdini, somebody who's out there right now.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
What or who is your favorite person who creates music or musical group?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Your favorite, what is that, 3?
Yeah, that is 3.
Your favorite Netflix binge?
Oh, okay. Okay.
And finally, what is your favorite book or book series, magic-wise?
Okay.
All right, got it?
Yep.
First one, favorite food. I'm gonna have to go with sushi on this one.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. Favorite current magician. I have a couple of these, but I'm gonna go with Jackie Yu. Who did you write down?
Because he's still current. I wrote down. I'm gonna cover the other ones. I wrote down. You can't see that. I wrote down Copperfield.
Copperfield.
He's still current. He still performs.
He is, and he just opened his show again. So good job on that. And I got he's like right up there on my bucket list. I got to go see David Copperfield. I can't even believe I haven't seen him yet. So let's see the next one. Music group, is that the next one?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with AC/DC.
Nope. I went with Coldplay.
Coldplay. All right.
Coldplay.
I like Coldplay. Favorite Netflix events. I have to get this one. Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Duh.
How long did it take you to watch Cobra Kai, by the way?
I mean, the last season I watched it in one night.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I did it all in one, and I think I've done each season in one sitting. I just I have to. Once you watch the first one, it's like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I'm right there with you. I watched late, and so I think I had all 3 seasons out, and I watched them in a weekend, and I didn't get much sleep that weekend. But
Yeah.
Let's see. Next one. What was the next one? Book or a book series?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go with Card College.
Yep. You nailed it. Ding, 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 ding. I know you can't see it, but yeah, Card College.
Nice. So I hit 3 of them. Not too bad.
Good job. Very nice.
I kind of, since we were talking about creating tricks, I know there is a lot of magicians watching. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe has an idea and wants to take that idea to the next level and put it into product or into getting a trick out there?
I guess the very first thing would be to make sure that it really is something that's original to you, as the person that's creating it and performing it. Because there's so much stuff that already exists that more times than not, it's got to be something similar to something else. I mean, there's only so many things we can do as magicians. So step number 1, definitely make sure that what you have is actually original to you. And if it's not 100% and it's kind of close to someone else, more times than not, the person that you have something that's been created like someone else's that's different, the person that's done it before will be like, yeah, I don't care. Like they just want to have a little bit of credit, know? So I think that's key number 1 is to make sure that you do your homework. To help you do that, I always tell people, have a good foundation of magic methods and tricks that exist. And if you're really interested in jumping into like that world, then the more you know helps, because if you find yourself just recreating the wheel a lot, then you would prevent a lot of that, because you would already know a lot of the things that exist before. So you would have that knowledge that you're not just going to keep spinning your wheels doing what other people have done before. And I guess other than that, find a good company to work with. If you do check off that box that it's original, companies will also let you know, if they've got something similar or there's something that exists like that. But yeah, just make sure that you find the right company to work with. Or if you're at a magic convention, companies do go there scouting out magic products. So if you have the trick that everyone's talking about, people will come to you and they will start asking and wanting to do a deal. So at the end of the day, just don't just create to sell stuff. Create stuff that's good that you'll use, that other people will use, and people will kind of come to you. That's just the truth of the matter. They'll come to you because there's a lot of products, but there's not a lot of really, really good products. If you have something that's really, really good, word will get out very, very quickly in such a small industry like magic.
How would you get them to come to you? I mean, are you videoing yourself and putting it out like on YouTube, or like what's the scenario there?
Well, the main one I'm referring to is like if you're at a magic convention,
okay,
and you're hanging out with other magicians, and you do a trick that is just freaking awesome. They're going to say, hey, you got to see this trick. Hey, and the word will just start spreading that, hey, have you seen this trick from this guy? Like that's what happened with my friend Alex Geyser when he was at Magic Live a few years ago before he did Penn and Teller Fullis. He was walking around the convention and he was doing this coins through glass table type of thing, like a handheld table thing that was kind of made out of like a plexiglass. And everyone was saying, you've got to see this, you've got to see this, you've got to see this, because it was like the trick everyone just had to see. Because when you saw it and when he did it to you, it felt like real magic. And I was even having him do it to other people because I wasn't even watching the trick. I was watching my friend's reaction because I'm like, I know at this moment, my friend is going to lose their mind. And I wanted to see that reaction over and over again. So that's one way to do it. And yeah, I mean, if you want to post stuff online, there's only one big problem when it comes to posting stuff online, though, And that is that if you post something that a lot of people start watching and liking, then other people will re-engineer it and start posting it too. And I know that happens a lot these days. So just kind of be mindful of that. But the magic industry is
performing at live is probably the best option as far as that goes.
Yeah, because I mean, those companies at magic conventions, they're hungry. They're looking for products. So if you're there and you've got something good, word will get out pretty quick. Especially if you're hanging out and showing people stuff, people will notice and start approaching you to put stuff out.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. I know there are people watching on YouTube. If they have a question, let's have them put it in. Just put where they're watching from and then your question. And then let's just have you pick one question while we're talking about this next thing, and then we'll answer that and we'll close it up. What's the next 5 years like for Luke? What's going
on? That's a good question, man. Like, definitely in one way or another to be connected to the magic world 100%. I'm not looking of going into another industry or doing something else. Whatever it will be magic related.
Are we gonna see you on Fool Us anytime soon?
No. I'm more of like a behind the scenes kind of guy.
Okay.
I enjoy that. Like, I would love to do some more consulting if possible. I think that would be fun to do some consulting again. I miss doing that. Just the action. There's so much action with that.
Who would you want to consult for?
Man, that's a good question, actually. It would have to be the right project, because there's a lot of things going on right now with TV magic that I don't like and I don't agree with.
Right.
So it definitely have to be the right project, 100%.
If David Copperfield called you right now.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'm not a fan of this prank magic stuff.
Yeah, I'm not either.
That's just, I mean, I don't even want to watch that stuff. So let alone I don't want to work on it. Yeah.
I hear you there. Cool. Yeah. We have a question in the chat that you want to answer.
Frankie says, was magic something you always wanted to do?
I think from talking to you, I think that would be a yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've never, and the cool thing is too, like, I know different people will go through different parts of their life, but like, I've never had a point in magic where I felt like I was burned out or I needed to walk away and take a break. I've never done that. And I hope I never do, because I've always just found a way to keep the passion and the love alive for magic. So yeah, it's my thing, man. That's just what I'm meant to do, I think. So
that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Luke, hey, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about magic and talent.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, Daniel. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you. Stay cool out there in Vegas.
I'm working on it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Luke. All right. Thank you, YouTube Live. Appreciate you guys watching. We will be back. We are not going to be on the 4th. The 4th of July is next week. So we won't have an episode then. And then we're out on the 11th. We will be back on the 18th of July with Mr. Peter Samuelson. He is a theatrical magician and he is awesome. So we are excited to have him on the show, and we will see you guys until then, and make sure you get your talents out there and start performing and have a good time. Stay safe, everybody. We'll catch you next time.